You're welcome back to watching Business Morning here on Channel Television. We did talk about the price of oil and what China is doing to that price, among other things. Well, to drill in on that, we have Bolanle Agbaje for the second time this week, analyst with Financial Derivatives Company.
Hi,
good morning, Bolanle.
Good morning.
Yeah, so China, I know US is a mighty country,
yes,
but we also have China, and then this COVID policy that they have, strict adherence to it, is costing the world something also.
It really is, but I'm sure for them, they're thinking that the benefits obviously outweigh the cost, because we had seen, you know, the significant effect and impact of what COVID had in the year 2020. So I'm sure they're not taking any chances, and I don't feel anybody can complain. You know, it's something.
All prices are complaining.
Yeah, but I feel like, you know, with the way things are going, and not just China, you have recession fears all around the world, like the UK.
And this is fitting into it.
Yes, and the UK, their growth numbers came out recently, the GDP numbers, and it's down to, it contracted by about 0.3%, and everyone is, you know, waiting for that next number, feeling that they would most likely enter a technical recession. So you have recession fears growing, not just in China, all around the world. Mainly,
not in Nigeria, though.
Well,
at least for now.
Well, at least for now, but I think going forward from now until about next year, a lot of, you know, analysts, they keep predicting the fact that recession is around the corner. So it's something that I think is here to stay, or would more or less happen before you see, you know, growth picking up in most countries. And obviously the war that is still happening has played a has escalated recently, and is still going to have significant impact on, you know, a lot of countries, because even the fact that it had started earlier this year, countries are still not, you know, at the point where they can actually, you know, replace the supply coming from those two countries, and it seems like it's going to get worse going forward. And yeah, so but the good news on the other hand, when it comes to oil prices, that as much as our production has declined significantly, we're hearing some good news from Shell, mentioning the fact that Forcados pipeline is expected to come back into play at the end of this month. I think they closed down to repair and, you know, make sure that all that oil theft that was happening before is not, or they're going to actually control that. And we do expect about 400,000 barrels to be replenished into the system, and that should,
so at least we can hit 1 million.
Yes, well, it should be, if you add that 400,000 barrels, 1.3, yes.
But at least let's hit that million.
I'm sure we would, you know, once that pipeline comes into.
Yeah, so I guess we should also be a bit hopeful when we see so much exposure. You know, I think I mentioned it on Tuesday. There's this exposure going on. The NNPC Limited has been going, one of our correspondents, Philip, they've been going to, you know, different areas where they've discovered through which oil theft. So let's hope that
they do
with
work
the exposure that, you know, things are going to change.
Yes, so it benefits us for that to happen. I can't say for as fact as, you know, all of that would be cleared in the near term, but at least some of, you know, those illegal connections would actually be stopped. So hopefully we do expect that in the coming months, oil production would, you know, increase significantly. But obviously looking inwards is the better plan for Nigeria when it comes to refinery. I think Dangote refinery is expected to, you know, come into production operation by hopefully the end of next year, if we're, you know, trying to be optimistic. And I think there was a report that said it's 97% complete. So that's good news for us. And also, you know, other agricultural products that we can, you know, play in. Looking at, I saw a news today on Kenya exporting their first batch of car batteries and tea to Ghana under the African Free Trade.
Break my heart. I wouldn't like to, because the other time I also saw Egypt. They've scaled up their production of wheat since all of this.
Yes.
I think about more than 40 or 50% of their consumption is now produced by local farmers.
Yes.
And that's from July till now.
Well, if you look at, you know, all those other countries, their governments are not compromised, unlike the way we are here. So it will be easier for them to, you know, put structures in place to actually, take advantage of this particular opportunities that is in front of them. So, but Nigeria, as much as we are not taking advantage of the opportunities, there are so many loopholes in the system that would prevent this adjustment for us.
We talked, I know the president, when he was talking about when he was presenting the budget for next year, talked about the cost of governance,
yes.
talked about perhaps reducing or removing sponsoring or funds to
Recurrent,
MDAs, recurrent orders personnel,
yes.
and
yes.
allow them to produce, make the money, whatever revenue they make, also use it to run the MDAs, you know. But
we've been battling this, spending on recurrent expenditure issue and topic for a very long time now. It seems like it's very hard for the government to reduce that. We've been talking about the fact that they need to invest in the structure of the economy. They need to invest in the education of the economy, in all those areas that would actually increase, or those are usually called supply side policies. And it seems like it doesn't benefit, those in the government agencies.
So
and
because of that, it doesn't get priority.
Yes, it doesn't get priority. But hopefully, let's see what the new administration comes in when it comes to, because right now the debt profile, I know that the finance minister mentioned that they wanted to tap into this new finance instrument under the IMF, the food shock credit that is currently available. But I don't think the IMF would actually support this, because it's more or less the fact that Nigeria has shown that we keep spending on this recurrent expenditure and we fail to adhere to the
I don't think I'm hearing that conversation about debt cancellation anymore.
Well, I don't think debt cancellation, but debt relief in any sense. Why should we pay some of the debts now? Why can't we, extend that to the future? I don't know.
That's like restructuring
the debt, yes. But I don't think it's something that, if your policies are not in line with generating revenue and investing in the appropriate areas, it's not good news for those that would be lending to you. Most times it doesn't.
And lending to you is going to be more expensive.
Yes, of course, because right now it's already expensive with the high interest rate, with the, cost of the dollar. Yes, so it's obviously going to get even more expensive. And if it doesn't look like you're able to pay back, I don't think most of these lenders would be happy to loan you.
So we see that our external reserves is down 0.08. That shouldn't come as a surprise with all we have discussed.
With all that's happening.
Let's just try to be optimistic a bit now. Shell have said they're coming back on production.
Yes.
We've seen efforts in exposing some avenues of oil thefts.
Yes.
Hopefully, by we're already in October. Let's just say by November, all of this come back. Oil thefts reduces. Shell is back. We hit 1.3 million barrels a day.
Yeah.
What difference can we expect that to make to inflation, FX, external reserve, all of that?
Well, inflation is, more or less affected majorly by the exchange rate. The fact that a lot of the commodities in our country is more or less imported, so you have that imported inflation aspect playing into it. So I don't necessarily think things will get, significantly better, but I think we'll definitely go back to where we were at the beginning of the year, and that obviously wasn't, a great place to be.
But it shouldn't be, because then oil wasn't as high as it is now.
Yes, it shouldn't be, but like we mentioned, the debt issue, a lot of the funds that we'll be making wouldn't necessarily be going to, funding
into the economy.
Yes,
it will be going to debt.
Some of it will, but a lot of it would actually be going into the debt servicing, cost as well. So you can't necessarily say that once you see this increased revenue coming into the economy, we actually see the immediate impact on inflation, and even with inflation at the moment, what is driving prices up again? Because at this period we had expected the harvest season to play significantly into the reduction in commodity prices, but that's not the case because of the floods, supply supply side, issues, logistics and all of that had played into the prices of some of these commodities. And we're moving into the Christmas period as well, is more likely going to get worse. So we can't necessarily say that the impact of increasing oil prices would actually have a significant impact on
Let it
inflation.
have just a little bit, to give a little bit of buffer, a little
to
bit
be
of
optimistic,
relief.
you'll definitely see slight improvement, but I wouldn't say, like right now, inflation numbers are currently trading at about 17%. At most, you would get to about 16 if things are done right. Exchange rates, devaluation happens and all of that. But I don't think it would get
and it seems like the government is very consumed with political activities now.
Exactly.
I don't know who's giving attention to
yes,
that, or we're just talking to ourselves.
Well, so hopefully by the time this new administration comes in and all of that drama has become silent, I think the economy would more or less start to pick up with whatever policies.
I just wonder how when it gets to Christmas, with the political season and all of these headwinds that are not looking friendly and don't seem to be letting up, I wonder how everything will merge when we talk of December, January, especially January, when it's normally so harsh.
Obviously, from your analysis, it seems like, things would actually crumble, are likely to crumble in December. But, the consumers are resilient. They, that demand situation that would necessarily not happen the way it used to happen in previous Christmas. And it's not just even in Nigeria, all around the world.
Nigeria, yeah.
So that already would, have that push and pull effect and not allow everything, crumble the way.
And then we also hope for divine intervention.
Yes, we do
we're
hope.
Nigerians.
We're very religious in this.
We're Nigerians. We can't let that factor lie.
I think that's where the hope of many Nigerians, and that's why we see this adjustment of many Nigerians. You see, you have this significant increase in diesel prices. Nigerians adjusted to it. Yes, you have the increase in oil prices. You have, so Nigerians are very resilient.
We're very resilient, and then we have that spiritual backing. I just believe that something can happen and things will turn around for me at any moment.
Let's see what happens. I think the first point of call is we hope that something, good comes out of this Russian-Ukraine war and it doesn't escalate the way, because I think that's where the initial problem.
After dealing with the pandemic, in fact, we're not even done with that.
We have that, and
anyway, thank you so much, Bolanle Agbaje, for sharing your thoughts with us this
me.
morning. Analyst, Financial Derivatives Company. Let's take a break now. When we come back from that break, what are we going to talk about? Just stay tuned. This is Business Morning on Channels Television.